Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 973. Tonight, very simple, and it's all listener email. I asked for podcast player software, and you came through. I have lots of players to talk about and file managers. So, buckle up. I have a ton of links. You're going to absolutely want to visit MikeNation.net. For show 973. All of the links are in there. As a matter of fact, I've already built them today during the day just to save time because it would take so long. So before we start and kick everything off, right now it's Hanukkah season until it's Hanukkah week until Monday. So happy Hanukkah to everybody celebrating that. And this is the last show before Christmas. We are 1 week away. So next Thursday is Christmas. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Have a happy and safe Christmas. The holiday show schedule. So after tonight, the next show will be Saturday, 12/27 at 2 p.m. So that'll be the last show of the year. I will be live on New Year's Eve on 12/31, Wednesday night. No show that night. I'm just going to go live at 10 o'clock, and I will stay on till at least 4 a.m. as we ring in the new year every hour across the country, and that should be a lot of fun. And for a couple hours, I locked in my wife, Dorothy, will be joining us live. So as we each take turns, we're gonna pick music to play for the holiday, for New Year's, and we're going to take a chat recommendation, a recommendation from me, and a recommendation from my wife. So that'll be fun. So then the first show of the new year will be Saturday the 3rd at 2 p.m. So instead of the Thursdays, since the holidays fell on a Thursday, I will be, Taz is busting me up here in the chat. He says the live cat chat. So longtime listeners will remember that. All right. So let's take a look at tonight's show. Is brought to you by Instant House Call. If you are an IT professional, you absolutely need Instant House Call for your remote access to all of your clients. It is everything that you need. And go to the main website, MikeNation.net, and click on the orange text, which will lead you to all of the information you need. You're going to get 90% off for your first year. How can you go wrong? It's a must do. It's a no-brainer. You can time all of your sessions. This is something great where you can look at. Remember, I mentioned that when we couldn't figure out how long we spent for a client and what day it was, and I went back into the session notes that's automatically done for you with Instant House Call. I was able to figure it out. So customers can start sessions without calling you first even. These are things and features we've never talked about. It's fully white labeled. Give it a try. It's instanthousecall.com. And again, you can go to MikeNation.net and click on it to get all the features that you want. All right. So now let me begin. And I got the notes. So let's go right into the email here. And I want to make sure the first, it's a big stack of email. All right. Let's go with, all right. Bob. He says, I just listened to podcast 972, and I had to laugh when you said they changed the router out without letting you know, and they wondered why nothing worked anymore. Yeah, that was I love that. To them, it's all magic and it doesn't work. Hey, I have had so many similar instances over the years, similar to that. They would make a change on the network, not thinking about how it will affect anything. And it really amazes me how much they really don't know what goes on behind the curtains when they do stuff like that. It also brings up, if you're an MSP like myself, there's so much we do and we're not visible. And that's something I'm very bad at, which is making ourselves visible with the client, letting them know what we do. I would love to know, what do you guys do in notifying your clients? Is there any kind of statistics or something that you put yourself in front of your client? So that's why I think, because we're not in their face enough, that they think they can just do anything. And I think you might remember when I sent you an email a while back where one of the teachers unplugged the network switch so she could plug in Christmas lights in her classroom and didn't understand why she couldn't get on the internet anymore. That's great, Bob. Now, he continues, you had also asked what we use for podcast apps. I use the Fountain Podcast app. Link is going to be in the show notes. And as you listen to it, they use what they call sats, which is a form of cryptocurrency. Todd Cochran got me using it. And after I generated enough apps, I would always donate it to his podcast. And I called them his Geek Bucks. At first, it didn't do video, but now they're starting to get into the video podcast. But I mainly listen to audio. Take care. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I am going to show everybody this page. And let's get there. Let's make sure. And this is fountain.fm/features. Discover podcasts and music worth supporting. Somebody mentioned the Apple, of course, Apple's podcasts, and that's podcast.apple.com. And what I want to do is get to that email. What I didn't correspond the links to the email. So give me a chance here. By the way, a lot of people are Pocket Casts. So, give me Apple Podcasts. Oh my gosh, the Apple app. And that's Steven from the chat. And he says, I use the Apple Podcast app on my iPhone to listen to podcasts. It is simple and easy to use. Have a great evening, Steven. Thank you very much. Want to get Michael. And he uses the Amazon player. And that's who I emailed Michael back and said, send me the links for that. So let's take a look here at the links, and that's Podcast Addict. Hold on. Here we go. So for the Amazon Music app, we have the Google Play Store to install it for your Android. And then in the list of notes is also, in the show notes, is also the iPhone version of that program. Man, you got lots of choices here. Now, here is Pocket Cast. This was the most popular. As a matter of fact, Kate originally sent me a link a long time ago about this of Pocket Casts. This is a big one. I got a lot of email. I would say out of all of the players that you use, this would be the winner, the Pocket Casts. So that was highly recommended by a lot of you. And I want to get to those emails. And let's see. We got Kate, again, listening to the podcast. Oh, here. Yes. I know I've mentioned this before, but as long as you're making a list, the way I listen to podcasts is with an app called Pocket Cast. There is a free version, which is fine for most people. I pay for a more robust version because I listen mostly on my Android phone, but sometimes also on my laptop and occasionally on the web. And you need to pay for version to keep all of that in sync. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like my Evernote. I gotta pay the piper to sync to across all my devices. She continues, I like Pocket Casts because it is pretty simple if that's what you want, and I do. But you can make it as complicated as you want to. The more complicated you want to make it, the more expensive the plan. A little bit like real life. You can download some or all new episodes of your subscriptions automatically or manually. You can add them to playlists automatically or manually. You can specify how long to hold on to an episode. That's interesting. You've played before it removes itself from your phone, tablet, computer, or you can keep an episode forever. You can share episodes. You can share a link to a specific point in an episode. Importantly, you can import an OPML file from any app you can export from. And it's easy to do, something that Spotify will not allow for some reason. I also export my OPML file every few months for safety. And you can manually add a feed, a URL, which is important to me because I do subscribe to some paid content. And that's always a different URL than the ad-supported feed. That main link will take you where you can download the iOS and Android apps. You do have to work a little to stay with the free app. If you go exploring on the site, everything will definitely offer you links to a plan. You can try a plan for 1 month for free if you are so inclined. I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else uses. Thanks for bringing this up, Mike. Going to go with Paul. Paul's podcast player is AntennaPod. I've never, ever heard of that. So let's bring that up for a second. And there we go. AntennaPod, ad-free. The AntennaPod application itself does not contain ads. If a publisher chooses to add ads to the media files, they get 100% of the revenue. So here's AntennaPod, and there's an about, there's a download of everything you need right here. And I just clicked about, simple, open source, and free of ads. I never heard of it. I just never heard of it. I had to throw mine in here, and the podcast player I use is Gpotter, and it's simple. It's open source. I mainly use it, and there's the Windows, the Mac version, Linux, and others. I use this to test my own podcast. So this way, when I used to use Zypod, and Zypod just stopped working for some reason. And as a matter of fact, I got Zypod years ago, recommended by Kate. So Gpotter is what I use to test my show, to see that it's reading the proper link. So let's go back and let's see what other emails we have here. Give me a second. Okay. Tim. Tim uses Pocket Casts. It's iOS, Android, and web. It syncs between devices. It's free, but they offer extra features, as Kate mentioned, for cheap yearly subscription. Who do we got now? Another Tim. Excuse me. I had two Tims here. Another Tim. I've been using Pocket Cast for Android for years, so lots and lots. So, let's get back. Kate, Paul. Okay. Let me just make sure I got all of the apps. Here's one. Boy, I forget whose email. It's Podcast Addict. So that's interesting. I didn't, you know what? This was a new email that came in, I think, later today that I didn't get added to the group of emails. So I apologize for who recommended Podcast Addict. So let's review. What do we got? We got Apple Podcasts, of course. We have Fountain. We have Pocket Casts, Antenna Pod, G Podder, the Amazon Music Player for Android, Amazon Player for iPhone, and we got Podcast Addict. So I just realized I have a tech email that I want to read and go in between the podcast apps and the file managers. Okay. This is from Joe, longtime listener, fellow, we'll call him a reverse snowbird. And what he's done is with the reverse snowbird, he was a snowbird down in Florida, and now he goes back to Pennsylvania instead of during the winter because his grandchildren play hockey and he needs to see them. So I thought that that's very cool. We've actually went to some Phillies games. So he goes, "Hi, Mike. I noticed a folder popped up on my Windows 11 desktop. Not sure what it is or where it came from. Perhaps you can identify it for me." And I did. It's a folder called GPU Cache. In it are 4 files called Data 0 through Data 3 and 1 index file. Seemed they were randomly added. Can I delete them? And I hope you're doing well. Joe, I sent him back a quick answer as I looked this up. The short answer is yes, you can delete the folder. The GPU cache or GPU cache, all one word, folder is not required for Windows 11 itself. It is just a temporary cache created by applications, often Chromium-based apps like Edge, Chrome, Electron apps, Quicken UI, to speed up graphics rendering, and can be safely deleted when those apps are closed. So the best thing, if you see something like that, you can just, make sure all your apps are closed and you can delete that folder. All right. In a previous show, I mentioned a file manager, Total Commander, that I was recommending and using. And boy, shame on me, I totally forgot of one that is very, very important. And Paul sent me the link, and it's Explorer 2. And Paul, I thank you very much for that because I used to use it. So we're going to mention 3 apps to try. Explorer 2, and we have the link that Paul sent me where you can download it. Then I thought of something that I totally forgot, and I've been using this, and it's free. There's a 32 and a 64-bit version, and it's called Explorer++. That's like Notepad++, which I've used. I still use the classic Notepad, but I like Notepad++ way better than the Notepad they've thrust upon us in Windows 11 that I just absolutely can't stand it. So I think I did a show where part of it was how to make the classic Notepad the default. Well, Explorer++, let's take a look at some of the screenshots here, which are really, it's very simple. It's a little more intuitive for file manager because everything you have icons right there for everything you want to do. It's simple, it's clean, all the drives are listed. I like this. Now that I remembered this, that's when I'm going to start using even over Total Commander, which I still think you should look into, but Explorer Plus is definitely something that you want to take a look at. Let's take a look and see. Here's like a dark mode for Explorer Plus. Here's one where you're doing the different options for when you click on a folder. So let's go back to some other pictures and just check this out. Okay, I think it's really worth taking a look at. Now, in my research for the best free Explorer replacement, File Explorer replacement, Directory Opus I came across, and I have not heard of this. And this also looks very clean, easy to use. You know, you have dual panes with multiple tabs. You can filter, sort, group your folders, label. You can rate. You can rate your files. So very, very interesting. And there is, I think you can pay for they have a single, dual, and 5 license, but the single is $89. Free for personal laptop license. But this is lifetime technical support, 1 year of free updates, and then it's $25 a year. So it's not 100% free, but you might want to check it out, try it out, and then see if you want to give it a try for your main system. Sorry, there's something in my throat. So I'm going to take a sip of water. When that happens, that means I know I got to edit for the show. I'm going over all my notes here and making sure. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I have one more. Podcast Addict. I am so sorry. Give me a second. Podcast Addict came from the web, and it wasn't an email, and now it was a comment, and it was a comment on the last show, and it's from George. And it's right on the website, and I approved the comment when I seen it today. So sorry about that. I forgot. I use Podcast Addict, a free version, on an Android. It's pretty good. I started using it a couple years ago when Google pulled the plug on my previous player. It had good reviews from third parties, so I picked it after using some other players that were recommended, but I didn't care for. Podcast Addict let me import my feeds from the old player, and that is so important. He continues, listen to the files in faster speeds. I prefer double speed. Arrange the order of the files in my active playlist. It lets me queue files saved on my phone to the archive list right along with the files from podcasts. I try to keep my active list under 700 files. That's great. I put way more on there one time, but something went wrong, and I had to recover the files saved to my phone. The ones from the podcast didn't need. He had to requeue, and he didn't need to be requeued. There are many other features on it that are nice that I don't use. All in all, it's a pretty great player, and that is Podcast Addict. I'm so glad I remembered that, because I was going through another listing of my notes, and that's when I found it. So I'm just checking that out. Anyway, all of these links are going to be in the show notes, MikeNation.net, for show number 973. Every link that you want. I want to take a moment to wish you and your family, your loved ones, your significant others a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And hopefully you can take a moment and join me on Saturday, the 27th at 2 p.m. That's the next show right after Christmas. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. Just be safe, and hopefully you'll have a wonderful holiday. And remember, you can always stay in touch with me by asking me questions, sending me suggestions. MikeTechShow@gmail.com. Also, don't forget the show notes and everything that you want to find. The link to Instant House Call. Everything is there in the main website at MikeNation.net. And if you're in the holiday spirit and I've helped you somehow, in some way, you've taken away from this and you're like, you know what? I'm in a generous mood to make a donation. Please do so. It's greatly appreciated. And it helps me with the equipment, with the streaming services, the website hosting. It all gets put to good use. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I will see you on the next show. Bye-bye.